Sup guys, Juggalo here. Today finally got the water block I was talking about, and if you're watching this it's probably going to be late because I can't upload any videos because it's taking quite some time, but do a little quick unboxing. It's already unboxed and everything. This is the coolant block for the GTX680 right here. Here's the back, nice and smooth. Alright, here are your thermal pads. You get instructions right here, and you get screws. So let me go ahead and try to hurry up and set everything up and zoom in the camera so it doesn't take freaking forever to do this video. Alright, so if I put it right there, it should be good. Alright, if you haven't seen my video on how to take apart a GTX 580, or I should say 680, excuse me, I highly recommend in doing so. And you're going to have these excuse me, green thermal pads when you take off the water block, or I should say the cooler, sorry about that. And you're just going to go ahead and roll them off like so. And these are going to be making contact to the water block itself. So once I get all these off, I'm going to go ahead and take isopropyl alcohol. And basically what you need for putting on a water block is a TIM, isopropyl alcohol, preferably 90% or higher, Q-tips right here, and a pair of scissors, and I don't know which size, but a Phillips screwdriver like so. Alright, now once you get all your thermal pads taken off, the old ones, you want to go ahead and use isopropyl alcohol and go over all the areas that you're going to be doing the TIM and or thermal pads. So we're going to have to clean the CPU or the GPU. We're going to have to clean the memory chips, and yeah, so let's get started. So we're going to go ahead and clean it up, and the alcohol should evaporate pretty fast. So we're just getting the areas where we're going to be putting thermal pads on. Alright, next up CPU, get that done. Just making sure everything's good. And looks like we're going to do these guys over here too. And then if they have a little residue, just go ahead and dry that up, the other side of the Q-tip that is dry. So I'll go around in circular motion. And let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit more so you guys can see what I'm doing. Alright. Because I'm just trying to get the block and nothing else. Alright, there we go. That's perfect. Make sure you put the cap on the isopropyl alcohol so if you bump into it, it doesn't spill everywhere. But go ahead and dry off all the excess. And then if you see some imperfections, go back with your isopropyl alcohol again, and then go over it and dry it off. Alright. Now what they're going to tell you on the instructions itself is to basically put the thermal pads and put them on the chip itself. What I personally do is prep everything up on this board so you have nothing to do. So this is all clean and just need a water block installation. So I'm not going to put the thermal pads on here. What I'm actually going to do is put this right here, and I'm going to put the thermal pads on itself right here. So this section right here, all this stuff. So it looks like I need to clean up a little bit all over here, so I'm doing these little guys right here. Do all these guys too, so making sure they're all clean. Basically touching anything I think the water block might touch. And hold on, sorry about that, my friend Nathan is calling. Gotta ignore you, buddy. So okay, there we go. We have that taken care of, alright? Now, what I like to do personally is put the thermal pads themselves on here. It's just way more easier in my opinion. And how I cut the thermal pads to size is I pretty much line it up like so, and then I proceed to cut it, and I estimate, okay, it's about this long. So what I do is I match up the corner to corner on the side, then I make a little slit there. So let me cut that. And then from there, I'm going to measure again to where it's going to be ending at, so I try to get an accurate fit. So I'm going to go ahead and go straight across and cut the thermal pad straight as possible, because remember guys, this is going to be cooling your basically anything, your VRMs, all that stuff, so you want to maintain the straightness, I guess you want to call it, and make sure it covers all areas. So there you go. That's how I do it. And of course kids outside are being rude, loud, and annoying, but kids are like that anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this off, and there's several ways. You can use your nails or anything like that, and basically put it in, see if it lines up, and mash it down, make sure it's on, and it is. So there you go, we have one thermal pad done. And you guys said you wanted to see what I do, so that's what I'm going to do, man. So I'll line it up again with the other side, make a little mark right there, and I'll continue to cut straight as I can. And then I'll go ahead down the line where I made the slit and cut. Right, that's ready to go. Go ahead and peel it off. And sometimes it's a pain in the butt, sometimes it's easy. So there we go. And we have one side like so. And the reason why I'm not using isopropyl alcohol on here is because it's already clean and all that stuff straight from the factory, and there isn't any oil residue that I can see personally, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, next up, we're going to go ahead and put the VRM, or I forgot, I don't know what this chip is, it's to the side, so it's probably going to cool these little guys right here. Alright, so I'm going to hold it over and see where it'll match. So basically it lines up to where I was cutting, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on there as well. So I'll peel that off and then set it on. Now it's okay if it's a little bigger than normal. You want basically the biggest piece, but yet covering it and making sure everything's going to get cooled at the same time, you know. So there we go, we got one right there. And so sometimes you also might have to correct or nudge these little pads to make sure it's straight and it's not, basically you're going to short your block if you don't cover it. Alright, next up, might as well do the other side of the RAM. So I'm going to go ahead and take it and match it with the corners, make a mark, and then proceed to cut up a little bit. And then from there I'm going to go ahead and cut straight across like so. So I'll make a little divot right about here with the scissors, and so I'm going to go straight across like I did last time and keep cutting until I meet the other area that I cut. So there we go, meet the area, cut straight down. Okay, next up, go ahead and peel that off. Like so. And go ahead and put it down. Again, you might have to move it. Looks pretty good. We're almost there. Alright, next up, going to do the last bit. This centerpiece is the CPU itself. So there you go. Alright, now same deal. I'm going to try to match the corners, and it looks like, yeah. So all I have to do is just measure how long it is. So take corner to corner, match it, and then make a little snip with the scissors on the side like so, and then cut straight down, maintaining a straight line the best you can, and then from there go ahead and cut where your little divot is that you left with the scissors, and cut that off. And then from there peel it off, and then see if I can get it almost. And that's okay if you peel it off and do it, it's alright. So there we go. That's on. Now it's a little bit over, but that's completely fine. I'd rather have it go over than under. And then from there, you're going to have to peel the plastic off. And I might have to pause the video to do that if it takes too long for me to do, just because it is a pain in the butt to do sometimes. So sometimes you have to take a pair of scissors, or not scissors, but a flathead, to get underneath the plastic. And you also want to try to make sure you don't tear these thermal pads as well. So I'm almost there. Okay, and then what you want to do, you're probably going to have to do, you might have to reset it because it automatically lifts up. So if that happens, carefully put it back where it belongs. So that's the only drawback. And these are a little bit stretchable too as well, so that's okay. And then so I have to get my nails, which I don't have any, unfortunately. And then pull back. So again, you might have to reset it. It's all part of doing the process, you know. You can't always get it right, so I'll go ahead and flip it over. It looks like it'll be easier. So I'll go ahead and flip it over and set it like that. Make sure it's down all the way, which it is. Alright, so this thermal pad's good, this thermal pad's good. Now we just have 3 more to do. Hopefully it doesn't take too much time to do it. Okay. I wish I had longer nails. So let me try to go on another one that might be a little easier. Okay, there we go. We got that one. We got it started. Now I just need to slowly peel it back, and hopefully, see, that's what it's supposed to do, is when you peel it back it sticks again, but can't always win with these thermal pads. And it's okay if it goes over and it's not perfect, but there you go. Alright, so we have this pad done, this pad, and this pad, so all that's left is this one right here, and it looks like the plastic wants to come up. You can see it because I've been finagling it. So let me see if I can get it up. Okay. Alright, it's up. Alright, next up, the last one. Hopefully it's not going to give me any trouble. It just came off, so go ahead and put that back on. And I accidentally put it on the wrong way. Gotta line up the corners and everything. So, because I had it this way, I think. So you got to be careful. And this is a learning process, you know. Alright, there we go. So all the pads are taken off. Alright, we have it here, we have here, 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 and all that's left is the center, which I didn't touch. And after that, let me get rid of all this stuff. And what I do is I personally just take everything out and I put them on here on this little styrofoam box for the screws, because you really don't want to lose any of these screws whatsoever, and or spacers. Now sometimes you might need to use a spacer and then sometimes you might not, it just depends. So alright, next up we're going to go ahead and make sure everything's good. That one's a little, it's not covering everything, so I'm going to try to remount it again. Okay, there we go. Now everything's covered on that side the way I like it. Now, I personally, for Tim to lay the block down, I just use a little blob in the center, and I'm going to do that on the GPU itself. So, one second, let me try to open this up. Alright, I have MX4 ready, and I'm going to put this on the CPU itself and everything. Just this, the reason why is just because how I install it. It's just easier that way. Okay, now we're going to do a small, let me put it right up, there we go, small dab right in the middle. It doesn't need to be a lot because of this die size is 28 nanometer. So there we go. That's how much I'm going to put. And there's ways you can do crisscross pattern and all that stuff. This is the way I'm going to do it, and it's been working ever since I started doing water blocks, so it should be good. Now here comes the hard part, and I might have to zoom out as soon as I get it done, but pretty much what you have to do, you want to line up all the holes the best you can. So, and I think the way I did it before is that I have the graphics card itself, and then I see what holes it's going to line up with, and then I try to do it that way. So let me just take a moment to figure out how it's going to install. So one second. I'm probably out of the shot, unfortunately. So let me zoom it out. And see how this block goes on. Because this is what I do. I put the GPU on like this. So it looks like it'll go something like that. And the reason why it's doing that is because of this new connector deal, so I gotta go move it over here. So this is gonna be interesting because how they have the 8-pin connectors, you also have the PCI Express. So that in turn means that you might have some issues trying to, you know, put this block on. So more or less I'm gonna have to do it the good old-fashioned way and hope that I get it right the first time and not the last. It's frustrating me. So, alright. So I think that's how the block goes, and hopefully I got it right. And I'm going to push everything in, and I'm going to try to slide everything into the holes. And there you go, the water block's installed for the most part. Next up, you got to take all these screws and basically mount them up so this is going to be tricky. So what I do is I take the block and I quickly flip it over like that. Alright, now since I have that over here, I'm going to have to move the camera so you guys can actually see what the heck I'm doing, and hopefully the cable that I have hooked up to the battery is long enough. So we're going to move over here, and I'm sorry if you see my big head or chin. So there you go. And let's zoom it in on the block. Go ahead and zoom in. Not too far. Alright, and pretty much it's just like putting on a standard block. You have to line up the holes and screw them in. So the issue is this whole new style of connectors, which is a pain in the ass, and it's really starting to piss me off, because basically this is what you have to do, and this is really messed up. You have to hold the block in your hand and then basically try to screw this stuff in. And what I do first is always do the center first, and then from there go outside. So start from the center, and I think I gotta use these plastic washers, which I have to. So plastic washers, if they don't stay, you can use some Tim, and basically the Tim will act as basically a kind of a holder, I guess you want to call it. And you just want to make sure that all of it goes down all the way and everything. And this is pretty frustrating, because I don't, yeah, it's great. They said it's great for cable management, but it's not great for water blocks installed, because you gotta basically hold it with one hand, as you can tell, like so, just to get the whole thing started. Now once you have your main connections and everything done, like the center, you'll probably be able to lay it down and not have to worry about anything. But it just frustrates me, that's all. So sorry for the long video. Would have been shorter if I was able to get all these in with no problem. Alright, now that we have that done, I'm going to go ahead and screw this one on. And just like a regular air cooler or whatever, you want to do a crisscross pattern and do it hand tight. Once you do it hand tight and it starts to, like, more or less the screwdriver starts to slip out, you know, hey, I better stop, because you don't want to do it too tight, because if you do it too tight, you'll end up actually tearing through the VRM, or not the VRMs, but the thermal pad, and you might have contact, and that would be bad juju for you guys. Because if you do that, you'll say bye-bye to a $600 card, and you don't want to do that. Alright, so that card is almost ready to go. We got 3 more screws to go. So, hopefully this video, if this is over 20 minutes, I apologize, but I'm just trying to show a step-by-step process on how to do it and everything the right way. So, there you go. We have 1 more to go after I get this one installed. And basically you want to go from inward outward. So we got this one done. Okay, now we just have 1 more screw and clear thing. So let me find that. Okay, there we go. There's the clear screw. Or not clear screw, I should say clear washer. Sorry about that. Take your screw and put it in, and of course the last one's going to be the most difficult. So let's see if I'll be able to put it down without it moving too much. Okay, there we go. Go ahead and put this in. Screw that. Now once this is done, go ahead and check all your screws. So I have one here, make sure it's nice and tight. Yep. Yep. And also what I like to do is get a really thin screwdriver and see if the pad actually makes contact. So if you're not able to physically push the screwdriver through it, that means that it's making good contact. So there it is, GTX 680 water block install. I know it was a lengthy video, but I think you guys would want to see it because I got a lot of requests saying, hey, we want to see how you cut the thermal pads, how you put everything on and all that. So that's why it's a little lengthy, and I'm going to go ahead and do my check that I said I always do. And see right here, if I can't push it under, well, here. Alright, now let's see if I can zoom up to what I'm talking about. Alright, now see, you have the card right here, and you have a little bit of thermal pad right here, and I like to see if I can push my screwdriver in. I'm not doing it forcibly. If I can push it in with ease, I know it's not making contact. But I know it's making contact right now because I can't get it underneath the thing. So that means that you did install it correctly. So make sure you use the clear washers and everything. Alright, now all I have to do is install some compression fittings. Go ahead and back that out. So let me get these prepped up real quick. And I got Enzotech compression fittings, and they come with extra gaskets, which is really nice. Stock gasket is going to be orange, and then you have yellow and green. So then all I have to do now, screw it down and just hand tighten. That is it. That's all you want to do is hand tighten. Then after that, no more of a quarter of a turn. So make sure it's nice and tight. Hand tight again, and there you go. This is ready to be mounted in my ABS 595 case. And I guess that's it, guys. Hopefully this video helped you out. I'm sorry for the delays and problems I had, but I'm happy that I got it. And comment, subscribe, rate this video, click that like button. Guys, have a great day. Bye.